Howdy Earthlings, today I'm a hamster, you'll find out why later. I'll also run out of furry games for you one day, but today is not that day. So here's yet another 5 furry games. Like the others, we have a solo option, multiplayer or co-op, and a free option or easy to emulate option. I tried to include a Gooner option at the end of all the videos, but everyone kept skipping the rest of the video just to watch the Gooner one. I'm not joking, the average watch time is 20% higher in the Gooner section than the entire rest of the video. So those Gooner games are going to go back to getting their own videos. You horny little goobers, messing up my watch time. This little piggy went to market. Niff niff. This game was given to me for free by the devs as an early access key. No money was exchanged. In Niff Niff, you play a little piggy in a family-friendly roguelike card game. If you've already played Slay the Spire, it's incredibly similar, but the themes are more like a storybook. You play a piggy and you save animals corrupted by pollution using a variety of attacks powered by cleaning products. Cards can clean health bars, and when it hits 0, the dirty monster is cleaned up and is a happy little animal again. The enemies will attack back though, so you'll need armor cards to prevent the damage. You can always see what the enemy is going to do next, so the strategy comes with knowing that and having a bit of luck. Building a good deck is as important as getting good luck and playing the right cards. Personally, these kinds of roguelikes aren't really my thing, but the art is cute. It's definitely family friendly, and with kids in mind, this is a great tool for learning math in a fun and addictive format. They might not realize that they're learning even. This friendly theme is super important to the game director as it was designed for his autistic son. They wanted to promote a fun game that's friendly and features non-violent conflict resolution, all while teaching them important values like friendship and care for the environment, which we can super get behind. Thanks to the devs who sent me a key early so I could show you all the game early. Niff Niff is coming to Steam and Switch on April 1st, but it's not a joke, for $20. Make sure you wishlist it too, because when you wishlist a game, it works like liking a YouTube video, because Steam also has a recommendation algorithm. Only for the rich. Armello. This game is dead, but still playable with a group of up to 4 people. And it's dead in the sense that nobody plays it anymore. It's not dead in the sense that it doesn't get updated. It doesn't get updated because it's done. That's different. It's dead because nobody plays it, and it's an online game, and you need other people to play it. Armello is a fantasy-themed hex grid digital board game about furries who are trying to save the kingdom. The king has become corrupt, and like most rich people, he's making his shortcomings your problem. There are multiple win conditions in the game allowing for multiple different strategies. You can slay the king, have the most prestige when the king inevitably croaks from corruption, collect 4 spirit stones and banish the king, or kill the king while you have more corruption than him, replacing one evil with a greater one. Each character has different stats and has a different playstyle, and that will encourage different styles of play. Unfortunately, as is the case with many digital board games, this game is expensive. Each player will need to spend $25 for a copy, then an additional $10 for any of the 4 DLCs that they may want to get a specific character. I'd suggest waiting for a sale, then buying 4 copies for your friends so they can't say no. That or you can get a friend to go halvesies and spend around $50 on the board game route and have just as much furry fun. But if you do that, you don't get to play as Magna the Thick Shield Maiden. Unless you have a full 4-player group, I can't recommend it for just everybody though. It's a very deceased game. It's really annoying how these board game video games are so expensive. No one is buying 1 copy of these and playing them solo. You're guaranteed at least 2 sales per person. You should charge less for them and you'll get a lot more sales. Like Munchkin, I will never pay 15 USD per person for it, but for the same price, I can buy Munchkin standalone boxes more than 4 people. Armello is a little different though. The board game doesn't actually exist yet. It won't come out until June, and when it does, it'll be between $60 and $80. It also has a game master mechanic, which means one person will always be left out of the action. So the digital is probably better in some regards, except a 4-player game of digital Armello costs $100 plus any DLC characters your friends may want. On the other paw, it's a lot easier to acquire the digital game than the physical, as it'll likely only be available at select board game shops unless you're lucky and it's at Barnes & Noble. I happen to live near a board game shop that is always getting the new stuff in, so I won't have a problem finding it, but you may. Narrative gamer who likes an occasional fisting. Brock, the Investigator. This is a narrative-driven game with a big focus on deep mystery story along with side-scroller brawler combat. It's also a point-and-click. You play as Brock, a private investigator who's an alligator, and you investigate the series of events surrounding your wife's death. The dev sent me a copy for this one. Me and Blythe played it for a while, but we ended up dropping it because we were already in the middle of a long game when playing it. They sent me this copy like a long time ago, so they didn't give it to me specifically for this video. Neither did Niff Niff. The combat is solid, the story is really interesting, and it's set in a cyberpunk universe. There's also some social commentary about privilege and poverty. The dev, Cowcat Games, embraces the furry nature of the game and I frequently caught them sharing fan art of the game. This game is also a massive step up from their first game. I've been sent beta keys of their previous game, and this one is definitely their magnum opus. It'll be a tough act for them to follow. The Heartbreaker, Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. This one I played for my podcast Experience Shared, where me, Blythe, Brooke, and Connie play retro games and talk about them together like a book club. The channel will be on the end card if you're interested. Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus is a spy thriller about a young thief named Sly whose parents were killed. The thief who killed them stole Sly's legacy, the Thievius Raccoonus, a book on his family's thieving techniques. As you play, you'll collect bottles and parts of the Thievius Raccoonus and learn new abilities while trying to exact revenge on the gang of criminals who killed Sly's parents. Gameplay seems like your standard character action platformer, but it actually has a focus on stealth and combat. The animation quality is fantastic with lots of cartoon stretching and pulling. Sly's character is a bit dickish at first, but you quickly appreciate him as a James Bond sort of character. Also, there's a hot fox lady that you've definitely seen art of. Honestly, based on the art I've seen of Carmelita and Sly, this could have been the Gooner option, but it's really our free or easy to emulate option. It's an early PS2 title, and I was able to emulate it flawlessly on my computer with a decade-old i7. I call this one Heartbreaker because despite its legacy, this first entry is kind of a soft first game. It only works to introduce the mechanics and the cast. At the very end of the game, it shows the title card, introduces the cast in a spy thriller style intro, and like you just started playing it, or like things just started getting started. And yeah, this game basically only exists to set up its sequel. It's a pilot for a larger universe, so despite it being a fun game, it tells you at the very end that this game was entirely optional. Worst of all, it has 2 mandatory racing minigame sequences. I guess it wouldn't be a PlayStation game without them. The reason why I'm a hamster. Point and click without the point or click. Hamtaro Ham Hams Unite. Another game from the fantastic podcast known as Experience Shared. In Hamtaro HHU, you play Hamtaro and you're tasked with rounding up all the hamsters for boss. The game is simple and straightforward, and weirdly, it's a point-and-click adventure made for the Game Boy Color. But instead of using a pointer, you'll learn words called ham chat. You use these words to do actions that result in a multitude of outcomes, some of which will progress the story by giving you the things you need to recruit major hams like Bijou, Penelope, Dexter, and others. You'll also find sunflower seeds to dress up Hamtaro. I wouldn't say it's a particularly good game, but I think it should definitely be praised for what it did with its limitations. It's an incredibly creative way to handle point and click on a system without a mouse or without a cursor. Story-wise, it's a little weak. They assume you don't know anything about Hamtaro because this was coming out around the same time as the show, so it fails to be a great game for Hamtaro fans because it doesn't expand much on the existing universe. This is also a free option because it's GBC only, and you could emulate it on a smartwatch if you wanted to. It gets boring pretty quick, and I recommend not playing it for more than 30 minutes at a time, or you risk not finishing it. Towards the end of the game, it becomes a shopping list where you're running a billion chores just to get one character to join. It's like the ending was made artificially harder so kids wouldn't finish it, so they don't complain about how short the game is, because it's only 3 hours long, on the long end. Personally, had it not been for the podcast, I would have never tried this game. It's definitely not something I would have played or bought, but since it's free, through the power of emulation, it's hard for me to not at least give it a shot. And that's it for this one. So thank you everybody watching, and thank you to the patrons on patreon.com/SerasThings, and members who click the join button below the video. Thank you to Firework Penguin, Momentary Unicorn, Aurora the Puppy Moth, Sly, Nat, Selena, Paper, Marius, Yeenie, Worm Syrup, Rask, Fur, Beef, Bait, Sly Again, Colorado Blue, Vaderson, Linky, Fasoku, Linky Again, Splackjack, and Malding Brick.